Live from San Antonio, Mike Taylor.
Boy, the Cowboys are the gift that always gives, whether it is positive and or negative. And on this week, we got both positive and negative. It is Ass Whip Tuesday. It is Mike Taylor Live. Thank you for watching and listening. I appreciate that very much. However you decide to watch and or listen, we highly, highly appreciate you deciding to do so. You can become a subscriber on our pages for absolutely free. You can become a member for only $6 a month. And our memberships continue to grow. Our subscriptions continue to slowly grow, and that's good. Thank you, man. It is Ass Whip Tuesday, and here's why I say the Cowboys are the gift that keeps on giving when it comes to content, even if it's good or even if it's bad. So, being a Cowboy fan when they're losing in public can be a massive ass whip because every bar in this town has some asshole who has a crappy week, has a home life, or his job sucks, or he's just an unhappy person. So his outlet is to put on the jersey of another team, go to a bar somewhere, and make an ass of himself in front of Cowboys fans during the Cowboys' losses, and he gets off on that. That's my ass whip today. And it's not the first time I've probably done this on this show in over 15 and a half years combined of being on radio on this show. So there's my ass whip today. The antagonist, anti-Cowboy guy, and I'm fine with that. I'm anti-Cowboys half the time myself because I get pissed off at them because they suck and do stupid stuff like get beat by the Cardinals. But the guy who decides to go into a bar full of drunk Cowboy fans while they're losing in some other team's jersey that's not even playing the Cowboys and talk shit about the Cowboys out loud and make an ass of yourself and run around the bar because you're not happy the Cowboys are losing, it gives you an excuse to show your ass in front of a bunch of Cowboys fans and piss them off and be the antagonist. That's my ass whip today on Ass Whip Tuesday. So I'm sitting in McFinnigan's on Sunday, watching the Cowboys lose to the Cardinals, watching Dak Prescott stink up the fucking field for 3 hours, only to throw an interception at the end of the game in triple coverage. Let's get something out of the way before I get into this story. That interception was not the reason they got beat. They were already down 2 scores at that point. Had Dak thrown the touchdown pass, they still got an onside kick, hope for a miracle. It's that 50-whatever minutes before the interception that Dak sucked all day long and didn't do shit is the reason they got beat, along with the defense, of course, but on a day in which the defense didn't have it. In the NFL, like I've said before and before, you don't win championships with defense. On occasion, your defense is going to give up points, and on a day where your quarterback has to be better than I, he was worse than. Anyway, so I'm sitting there watching all this unfold at McFinnigan's, getting ready to do my live chat brought to you by the law office of Orlando Kell. And we get in there, and there's a bunch of Chiefs fans in there. Okay, if you've been rooting for the Chiefs for more than 20 years, that's fine. You know, if your great-granddad was from Dallas and you go back to and your great-granddad was a big fan of the Dallas Texans before they moved to Kansas City with the Hunt family and became the Kansas City Chiefs, okay, cool. If you have an illustrious long history of being a Chiefs fan, cool. If you are a Chiefs fan because it's more fun, even that's acceptable. Because I've said this before, it's just pro sports. You're allowed to root for whoever the hell you want to. Is it kind of cheap that if you decide to be a fan of a team that plays in a state you've never even fucking been to? It's pretty cheap. But to each their own, it's a free country. Where we get into ass whip levels is when you decide to put on that Chiefs jersey, go to a bar where the Cowboys and Cardinals are playing in your Mahomes jersey, and make an ass of yourself in front of a bunch of drunk Cowboy fans. That just makes you an asshole. Chiefs fans from San Antonio that go into bars and dunk on Cowboy fans is my ass whip. You know, maybe your weekdays are not good for you. You know, maybe you are washing dishes all week. I don't know what you're doing. Perhaps maybe you were recently diagnosed as having butt polyps up in your butt. Who knows? Maybe you've had a tough week. But man, and all that does is prove who America's team is. The Cowboys are America's team, period. I know that they just are. Because I'll guarantee you, Cowboys fans don't go to bars in Kansas City with their Dak jersey on while they're showing the Chiefs and the Bengals and talk shit about the Chiefs, right? Only people do that to Cowboys fans because they're the Cowboys and they're the most hated team in the world, i.e. also the most beloved team in all of the world. And that's what happens when you're Real Madrid or you're the Yankees. We have to endure it. All it does is make those people look stupid, and it only solidifies that we are America's team, the Cowboy. Cowboy, that's my team. I'm worth $15 billion. But again, you'll never go to any city in this country, none, and see somebody in there in a Cowboys jersey that's watching like some other game. If you'll see Cowboys fans in every bar in this country watching the Cowboys because there's Cowboys fans in every city in this fucking country. But you don't see a bunch of Cowboys fans going to beer joints in Chicago and talk shit to Bears fans while they're losing to the Packers. It doesn't happen. Only assholes that hate the Cowboys do that. And when you do that in San Antonio in the middle of cowboy country with a bunch of drunks in there that are pissed off at the Cowboys, you take your risk, you take your health into your own life. Or your whatever, however that cliche goes, that's an ass whip. Do you have one yourself today, sir?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
The traffic in Austin. I know it's always been an ass whip.
And Cowboy and anti-Cowboy fans are always in it. But still, it hits home.
Yes, I came across a graphic when I was browsing Reddit the other day, and you were complaining about San Antonio traffic. It was one of your ass whips not too long ago, a few weeks ago.
Right, because of the construction that we have.
Yeah, and we don't have a free-flowing city, but at least we don't have this. Take a look at this graphic I have up on the screen here. Oh, why is it doubling on me?
Fine production here.
Yeah, hold on.
Okay, I see San Antonio, I see Dallas, I see Houston, and I see Austin. Texas City road design. Oh, I know what you're about to tell me. You're about to show me how. Yeah, I know. How Austin.
What's wrong here? What's wrong here?
That Austin has no shape. It's abstract shaped.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
That's an ass whip.
Yeah.
So I had a rental car last week. Normally I drive my car and I have a Texas tag for it so I can take the toll road. Mm-hmm. So I skip all that crap right there.
Yeah.
But last week I had that rental car, so no Texas tag, and they rape you on the charges when you go on tolls in a rental car.
Yep.
So I took the regular 35 up to whatever road, 76 or something like that.
God, I hate 35.
Yeah. And so it took me 2.5 hours to get home. That was an ass whip. And then I came across this and that explains it all right there.
Explains a lot of it for sure. And they don't have, that's a tiny town.
Exactly.
Geographically speaking. It's very tiny, and they're trying to fit 1.5 million people in Travis County. And a lot of that goes back. What old Austinites will tell you that's because them damn liberal politicians for years wouldn't let us build roads that made any sense because, you're going to run over a couple of trees building this road, so we need to go around it. That's what old Republican Austinites would tell you, and I think some of that's probably true. Not all the way to the extent that it's preached, but like with any political argument, there's give and take and there's lie and truths on both sides.
Yeah.
That is no question. A lot of that is because they for years did not want to look like a generic town like those other three you have on that map: Houston, Dallas, and San Antonio.
But it's city planning. It's road. Come on.
Right.
Now.
Well, blame the tree huggers. We can't build a freeway here because this is where the Algonquin mole has a nest, and so we can't have a road here.
I'm all about protecting the endangered species, but
You a big fan of that Algonquin mole, are you? Can we relocate them, possibly, without harming said animals? I think that's possible. Hey, dude, I don't know what to tell you about Austin. I mean, it's funny because, I lived in Austin for 3 years, and even when I lived, this is almost 10 years ago, I spent 3 years living in Austin. And even then, people bitched about people like me. They were transplanting into Austin even then, fucking up what Austin's supposed to be about. Chill, laissez-faire, laid back, country bands, hippie lifestyle, take it easy, breezy, college town, that kind of thing. But the international transplants from the People's Republic of California have gone in there and turned it into Silicon Valley Central. And even me, like I used to be the guy that was mucking up Austin. If I went to Austin now, I would be put out by these new people that are mucking up what was my Austin, even though I mucked up their Austin. You know what I'm saying? It's absurd.
And the people that are upset with how Austin's been changing, guess where they're going?
San Antonio.
Yep,
I
right
know. Which is why we're running out of room, and every goddamn freaking highway and byway in our town's under construction, trying to keep up with the ever-growing population. Let's not forget that the Mexicans won't stop making babies too, though. Let's just not forget that for a moment, okay? All right?
Get the fuck out of here, man. It's my night.
It's the transplants and the lack of protective sex in this town that is making the population zoom to the sky like the space shuttle. It's funny you mentioned Austin. You've been going up there, what, once a week?
Yeah, I have a gig up there once a week.
On Thursdays?
Yes, yeah, give or take.
When is this week's gig up there?
Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going somewhere. I need to do my show from Austin Thursday. This show. I need to do our show.
At 10 a.m.?
Yeah.
Well, that's fine.
Okay. So here's the thing. Nina's got some business in Travis County. And I don't want her to drive up there alone and back.
No one told me.
I have volunteered to drive her up there and back because going up there is not the easiest thing, mostly because of the insanity with populations and the shitty grid they have. And, it's a long day trip, and I thought, F it, I got nothing else to do. So we're going to get up early Thursday morning. I'm going to drive to Austin. We're going to find a place to post up and do the show. We're going to find a place that has better Wi-Fi than what I had in the hellscape. I'm just preparing you in advance for possible ass whippage in 2 days from today.
But we are going live
We
at
are.
10 a.m.
We
Okay.
are. That is, yes. There's a 98% chance we go live and everything's
Possibly.
fine.
We're going to go live possibly.
Possibly,
Yeah,
yes.
all right.
But it won't be like when I was in the hellscape last month and I was trying to find parks where I could find some Wi-Fi.
It was actually kind of funny.
It was funny once, but after you don't want to do that very often. Then it gets into the sorry, I got muckles. It's funny on occasion when I have a meltdown like that. You don't want to do it once a month though. Then it becomes a beating, and they won't watch me anymore. And that's what's in my head. Austin is a tough. And I've said this forever about Austin. I love Austin. What I mean by that is I love to go there. They have a great entertainment scene. When you go to Austin, you know what you're getting yourself into, and so I'm trying to be a positive person. I know that it's a rat race, but I try to embrace it. It's kind of like going on, it's like going to Chicago or New York City, although I would argue New York City is easier to get around in than Austin is.
Definitely.
For sure. But when you go up there, I like to go up there because there is that hustle and bustle scene in the inner city part. And I like it. It's cool when you're there for the day and you're doing something fun. Because normally I don't go to Austin to do anything except have fun, like I'm going to a game. I'm going to go see a band. So you're going up there for fun purposes. So I like going up there because they have a lot of fun stuff to do. I just don't want to sleep there ever again. It's great to go up there and spend the day. It's wonderful when you get in your car and head south and get the fuck out. That's Austin in a nutshell. I think most agree with that. It's a great town to do stuff in. Ain't nobody trying to live up there, which is why they're all headed south. Yay. Okay. Let me promote a couple of things here at this point. On Sunday, we will be watching the Cowboys and the Patriots. Zeke Elliott's New England Patriots will be at Jerry World on Sunday. And we're going to have a watching party, and we're going to do an in-the-flesh live version in front of humanoids of Cowboys Overreact presented by the Law Office of Orlando Kell this Sunday at the Ringer Pub. We're back to go hang out with our homies at the Ringer. It's a 3:25 kick, so I'm going to get to the Ringer probably 3 o'clock-ish just to give me time to get in there and settle up and order some empanadas and have a beer ready to go so I don't miss any of the game. And then we're going to watch the game, and when it's over, LG and I will do a live Cowboys Overreact right there in the flesh. I do the chats every Sunday live, but you know what I mean, actually in public somewhere with humanoids to watch us do the show. So come hang out with us Sunday at our little buddies at the Ringer on Jones Maltzberger in Thousand Oaks, right there by the huge thrift town or whatever that is. It's a good place to go in there and look for thrift shirts if you need some old school stuff. But right there in the corner is the Ringer. And we'll be there Sunday for Cowboys and Patriots, a watching party / Cowboys Overreact. Matter of fact, just so you can be thinking ahead, if you don't have tickets to Spurs Mavericks on October 25th, that is opening night of the NBA season for us, we're going to be doing a Spurs watch party. I'm repping Wemby today, matter of fact. We're going to be doing a Spurs watch party on Wednesday, October 25th at the Ringer. I'm not going to do a show. I might pop open live Twitter for funsies and stuff and just kind of do some chatting. We're just going to hang. We're going to drink beers and watch the Spurs and the Mavericks on that night. So that's it. We got a lot of cool things else planned at the Ringer. We're going to be doing Cowboy shows there on Sundays or after games once a month. And we were just there 2 Sundays ago for the Cowboy game, and he wanted us to come back for Patriots for again, it's once a month, and the October game he wants us to go to is the Patriots game, and that's coming up this Sunday after the game. We'll do the post game. Fat Tummy Empanadas will be there serving. All right, show brought to you in part by Live Oak Vodka. Get you in there and order a vodka with me. Have a Live Oak vodka with me. I had some Live Oak shots the other day up in there. Straight Live Oak, a little bit of lime, spray it in there and shoot it like tequila. It was really, really good. It is the official vodka of Mike Taylor Live in Thunderdome. Highly recommended. It is by me and by others. It got a 91 score last year in the Ultimate Spirits Challenge of 2K22 for being one of the best damn vodkas in America, and we happen to have it being distilled right here outside of Corpus Christi down in Beeville. The home of Live Oak Texas vodka is Coastal Bend Distilling in Beeville, Texas. And that is our vodka. Okay, what else today? It's Tuesday, so I usually get into Mondays during the football season, unless there's just something huge that goes on Saturday. Mondays are normally reserved for Cowboys overreaction and knee-jerking. By the way, that's another aspect, by the way. Is it Colin Cowherd or Dan Patrick that calls their show Overreaction Monday? I think it's Cowherd.
I don't know. I
heard that the other day, but I can't remember if it was Dan or Cal. I had the ticket on, and it was either Cowherd or it was Dan. I can't remember now. One of them kept referring to the show. It's Overreaction Monday. Are you kidding me, dude? Seriously?
Yeah, but
I'm not saying that they stole it from us, because, by the way, I stole that myself.
I was going to say, how many sports talk people have used that? Probably a lot.
After Monday, 3.
Yeah,
me,
but in the past, I'm sure it's been used before.
They ripped off that thing I ripped off, man. That's bullshit. So the reason I started calling Mondays years ago on Ticket 760 when I was on iHeart, Overreaction Monday, and it was either that or Knee Jerk Monday. I've always referred to the day as both.
I've never heard anyone else use Knee Jerk Monday, though. So that might be originally yours.
The reason I used, Knee Jerk's mine, Overreaction, the reason I use Overreaction on occasion and decided to name, and this is getting all personal, and the reason I call the Cowboys postgame show Overreaction is an homage to my mentor in talk radio, the great Randy Galloway, long retired talk show man and newspaper columnizer, who's in his 80s now. And I talked to Randy a couple of months ago, a couple of text messages. We keep in touch a little bit. I'll message him a few times a year. He's retired, lives on a badass ranch. He's like John Dutton out living on this fucking ranch way out in west of Fort Worth. But he was the guy that had the most influence on me getting talk shows back when I was working in the Metro 6 another lifetime ago. Back before I had to dye my hair, because now it's fully white and I have to dye it now to keep it this pretty brown. Didn't have to dye it in those days. And Galloway is the first guy that I ever heard call his show Overreaction Monday. And I did a bit with that and wanted to have my own themed days. Like we have people that want to punch Wednesday, ass whip Tuesday, and I created Knee Jerk Monday. And that's also Galloway related, because he used to say, "God damn, man, you knee jerk more than any motherfucker ever heard on the radio with them stupid opinions." Because in my younger days, giving opinions about sports, I was the guy. And I admit this, we still do it a little bit. It's fun. But in those days, I was really bad at, every game meant the world. Oh, Cowboys lost. They're going to lose the rest of the games. Everybody sucks. Fire the coach. Taylor, you're a fucking idiot. You knee jerk more than I ever heard anybody knee jerk. See? Or if the Cowboys won, oh, my God, Romo's never going to lose another game. The gods have gifted us Tony Romo. He's going to be a 10-time All-Pro. Just put Romo's name in the Ring of Honor now because we beat the Bucs. And we're 4-2.
Cohen's in here. Apparently, Rich Eisen has a podcast called Overreaction Monday.
Okay. I was wrong. I threw Colin and Dan Patrick under the bus. It's Eisen. Rich Eisen does it. Okay. And so, but again, I've only heard Rich do it, Randy do it, and I do it as an homage to Randy. So I admit that I stole that from Randy because I'm paying homage to my mentor. The knee jerk is mine. You hear anybody say knee jerk, let me know. I'm going to blast their ass. But anyhow, that's it. Not in the good kind of way. Not blast the ass. So that all being said, Mondays are normally knee jerk Mondays as we talk a lot of Cowboys and NFL. If something Herculean happens in college football Saturday, we'll get into a little bit Monday. But Tuesdays will be the day where I get a lot of college takes in amidst all the other stuff. So let's get into it now, shall we? I don't have a lot on it. It's going to be Deion based again, my new boyfriend. But let's begin with those Longhorns because they are the local team outside of UTSA. Sorry, Jeff. UT spanked Baylor in Waco the other night. What was it, 38-6 or something like this? Let me say this about that sorry-ass Baylor program. Thank God the Longhorns are done with those assholes. There's no purpose to be served for Texas going forth to ever play that sorry program again. UT is moving on to Big Southern John Plantation country. Why on earth would Texas ever play Baylor again, ever, unless they got paired up in a bowl game somehow crazy? There's no reason to play Baylor or TCU or Texas Tech or anybody else for that matter, but really Baylor because Baylor is a sorry-ass program. Hopefully Texas will never play them again. So that was the last time that the Longhorns have to go into that shithole city, play in that shithole stadium against that shithole athletic program and thump their ass 38-6, and that's good. I'm glad I can cuss on this show because when I talk Baylor, it's all I can do not to. That being said, the Longhorns now turn around and get ready to play Kansas. And funny enough, we talk about Kansas here, but we could be talking about Saturday night. We could be talking about a Longhorn loss.
What are we talking about?
Texas may lose for two reasons. Reason number one, the Longhorns still have not shaken off all that playing down to the competition bullshit. Now, they thumped Baylor, which was nice, but the Longhorns struggled. Longhorns struggled to beat Wyoming. All that, and really, they're ebbing and flowing with how my man Quinn Ewers is going. Quinn Ewers is still trying to. He's gotten better, but he was like a 16-year-old learning how to drive last year. Now he's like a 19-year-old driver. He's better, but on occasion, get that thing back to the center of the road. My man Quinn Ewers, he is still trying to find the consistency that he needs to match his unbelievable ability. He has NFL starter's ability, but he's got to match that mentally. And like he needs that swing king we saw at Bama. We haven't seen that guy in any of the other games. Now he's been a little better than other games, but he's not matched the level of play in the Bama game.
Alabama.
So it's like, do you need you gotta find that motivation? I know it's Wyoming, dude. You know, but you still have to. You're getting paid to only play 12 of these games. Notice I said you're getting paid. I mean, they're paying you, and all you got to do is you just have to be super motivated 12 days a year. That's it. You got to find a way to match that same swing king motivation level that you had in Bama every week, and he's still working on that. He's slowly getting better, and that's good. So the point being, UT cannot get caught slipping Saturday against Kansas at home. Quinn Ewers has got to find that same kid that he was in Tuscaloosa 3 weeks ago because Kansas is 4-0. And I'm not saying Kansas is going to go to the playoff or anything this year, but Kansas is 4-0. And it's not like they're playing, R2-D2 State. They beat BYU last week pretty handily. BYU does not suck, regardless of what I think about the Mormon Church. They don't suck at football, and Kansas kicked their ass. So this is a very losable game for Texas. Can't have Quinn Ewers. I need to be that stud he was at Alabama. All right, what about UTSA? They got problems. Now, Jeff Traylor would get mad at me for saying that because he seems to think that all we needed was the bye week to make it all good again. And Jeff's real good at bottom lines. Jeff's real good at keeping the team's mentality on a realistic level. Jeff is the anti-knee-jerk Monday. He's great at keeping the reality real. And I hope he's right. I'm worried that he's wrong, though. I hope he's right when he says, we just need the bye week. Once we get to Temple, we're going to be 0-0. So anybody that wants to take shots at us now, go right ahead because my kids are ready for the challenge. His motivation for this point of the season at 1-3 now, but having played no conference games yet, Jeff's motivation is everybody thinks we suck. Everybody thinks we're done. Everybody thinks we're going to lose the rest of our games. They're ready to fire me already, which is not true. But that's whatever it takes to get your kids motivated. That's going to be the rally cry. They've all given up on us. They've forgotten these last 2 years. Bull don't care. Bull don't care. And we've been bucked off this season so far. Got to get back up on that next bull because that bull don't care. Don't matter, get better. Hashtag don't matter, get better, Mike. And I hope he's right, and I trust him. So I'm going to do what he asked me to do in the press conference. Not me directly, but, fans. It's all a wash. To hell with it. Yes, they got steamrolled by Tennessee. They were going to get steamrolled anyway, whether Frank Harris played or not. That was a better football team through and through than the Roadrunners. The only question I have after the Tennessee game is, did Eddie Lee Marburger, the backup, lose his job? That flying McCown kid showed up, Owen McCown. Remember we talked about him earlier this year when he transferred. McCown played the entire second half. Granted, he played against Tennessee backups primarily. He played a Tennessee team that knew the game was out of reach. Josh Heupel, the Volunteers coach, loves Jeff Traylor, and out of respect, there was no way Josh Heupel was going to stay on the pedal to the metal for the second half. So my point is, Owen McCown didn't see the same Tennessee team as Eddie Lee did in the first half. However, Owen McCown absolutely looked pretty good. So I don't know who the backup quarterback is going to be going forth. They expect Frank Harris to be ready to roll for the Temple game next week as they're off this week. That's the only question I have is who's the backup? Because with Frank Harris's injury history and his propensity to get hurt, the backup quarterback in San Antonio, Texas is an important position. Is it going to be McCown or is it going to be Eddie Lee? I just don't know. All right, it's Taylor, partly brought to you by R&R Auto Glass, the only place you should ever go to buy new glass in your vehicle when it gets damaged is my boys and girls at R&R right there by the airport at 281 in Tacoma. Go hit these people up, mention us. They'll give you a Taylor Especial. They've been giving discounts to Thunderdomers for years, and they continue to do so in perpetuity for the rest of this year. At least it is R&R Auto Glass, the only place that you need to go get glass fixed, whether you've got a busted windshield, busted back winder. Doesn't matter how they got busted. They don't care. They don't care, Mike. Just fix the glass at R&R Auto Glass right there by the airport at 281 in Tacoma. The phone number for listeners is 340-2588. 210, of course. 340-2588 or rnrautoglass.com, rnrautoglass.com. Okay. Now to the weekly Deion discussion, because there's always discussion around Colorado and Deion. Colorado got curb stomped by Oregon. That's not that surprising. Well, maybe I didn't think the Buffs would get rocked the way they did. Oregon is clearly better than Colorado is now. But of course, just like last week, it becomes a battle of the mouthy coaches. Because, every week it's that way with Deion. Deion brings out that in other coaches, which is unbecoming of those coaches. Deion's consistent. Deion's who Deion is. It was Matt Rule, the idiot Nebraska coach earlier in the season. Then it was Jay Norvell, the idiot coach at Colorado State. This week, it was Dan Lanning, the head coach at Oregon. Now, before you play this, let me put this in some context. What you're about to hear is this is not Jay Norvell on his weekly talk show dunking on Deion for wearing glasses in the frickin' press conference. This is not Matt Rule earlier in the season dunking on Deion for wearing expensive change during the game. This is a coach simply trying to motivate his team. This is in the locker room before the game. The young coach at Oregon, Dan Lanning, basically using all of that swag that Colorado has against him in trying to motivate his own team. This is Lanning talking shit about Deion and Colorado to his team pregame Saturday right here.
Rooted in substance, not flash. Rooted in substance. Today, we talk with our pads. You talk with your helmet, right? Every moment. The Cinderella story is over, man. Right? They're fighting for clicks, we're fighting for wins. There's a difference, right? There's a difference, right? This game ain't gonna be played in Hollywood, it's gonna be played on the grass, right? It's gonna be played on the grass. Let's go.
And what did Oregon do at that point? Went out and beat the shit out of Colorado. That's a football coach getting his team ready to go win a game. That's not a football coach taking a pot shot on a radio show. So, of course, Deion was asked about this. And Deion basically said, well, he did kick my ass. So here's a little Deion retorting post-game after Colorado got whooped.
It translates in practice. I don't say stuff just to say it for a click, contrary to what somebody say. But I keep receipts. But I'm serious. I analyze and I understand what we're up against and what we have and what we need. One thing that I could say honestly and candidly, you better get me right now. This is the worst we're gonna be. You better get me right now. Now I got messengers. God bless him though, man. He's a great coach. He did a great job. God bless him. He can take their shots. They won. I don't shoot. I don't do that. They won.
All right, and I do like Dan Lanning, the coach at Oregon. He's good. You know what? I would have said the exact same shit to my team pregame. That was, of course, cameras were rolling, but that wasn't on some. I take my glasses off when I look a man in the face. Fuck off. That was just shitty. Dan Lanning, that was getting my team motivated to play. They're about clicks in Hollywood. We're about winning the game today on the grass. I thought that was genius. And Deion knows it. Now, of course, Deion has to get that. I keep receipts in there. And I also thought Deion was a little bit hypocritical if you watch that entire press conference after the game. Because at one point, Deion's like, I don't know why they're taking shots at me. I'm not playing. And we're old school. And I've said this before in defense of Deion this season. He's very old school when it comes to the football games, the practices. Deion's old school. They're disciplinarians. Your ass ain't 10 minutes early, you're late. They don't put up with bullshit that compromises winning at Colorado. They do it old school, but they do it with swag. And it's not the first time it's been done. Jimmy Johnson, he did it old school with swag in the 80s at Miami. Barry Switzer may not have been wearing gold chains on his shirt, but Switzer in the 70s, he was doing it old school with swag. Deion's just the modern day version of what Jimmy did at the U or Switzer used to do at OU. But I thought Deion was a bit, maybe not. He contradicted himself because he was also just pissed because his team got beat. At one point, Deion's like, I don't know why they take shots at me. I'm not out there playing. But then later on, Deion's like, you better get me now because this is the worst that we're going to be. Get me now. So it is about you. I mean, it's always partly about the coaches. Deion invites some of this hate by the swagger that they roll with. I love the swagger, but that's the fine line with having swagger. If you're going to put your dick on the table and you get your ass beat, people are going to talk shit about you. But that's part of the deal. But that swagger is what gets that's the reason Colorado was kicking ass right now. They have better players, they're motivated, and they feel great about themselves because of that swagger they all roll with. It makes them play better. They're playing in Deion's image, and I've got no problem with that. I love that kind of ball playing. I do. But that's the risk. When you're swaggery and cocky and put it out there and act like Johnny Football and do the cash money, and then your life falls apart, they make documentaries about your life falling apart. And that's the way it goes. It comes with the territory. Deion's doing whatever he has to do to make his team win, and they're 3-1 after winning one game last year. Dan Lanning is doing whatever he has to do to get his team to go out and take advantage of it. The last thing Dan Lanning wanted was for Oregon, who has more talent than Colorado, to go out there and get intimidated and distracted by the Colorado bravado and play down to Colorado. That was good coaching is what that was. It's different. Meanwhile, Shiloh Sanders, Deion's son, who plays safety for Colorado, he went out there and challenged every player on Oregon's team to a fight in the pregame and then challenged their coach to a fight too. And then during the game, somebody hit Shiloh so hard that he was pissing blood after the game was over and had to go to the hospital. Shiloh I think he has a lacerated kidney. 1 week after Travis Hunter gets a lacerated spleen or liver too or something like that. It's a liver. So that's the other thing that happens when you act all cocky like that and put your chest out. Even though that's what works for you and that's great, you become a target. That was a shitty hit that asshole for Colorado State levied upon Travis Hunter the other night, but that was a direct response to all that bravado. And then Shiloh's going to run over there and talk shit and challenge everybody on Oregon's team to a fight before the game. Somebody knocked his ass out. So they got 2 kids with cut organs that are pissing blood. That is also a risk when you talk all that shit. But it's what makes Deion and successful, and I'm here for all of it. All right, show also brought to you in part by San Antonio City Soccer. Fall leagues are getting ready to get rolling. We got match day Wednesday night, 7:30. They got big matches out there. There will be a game on Thunderdome Field Wednesday night. It's match day as San Antonio's Pro Academy, the San Antonio FC, our guys FC who just clinched the playoff spot, their Pro Academy is going to be playing in a game at the official soccer club of Thunderdome Wednesday night at 7:30. That's pretty cool. Way up on the north side on the Spec Road complex. So if you're looking for something to do Wednesday night, go out and support the Thunderdome field and watch San Antonio FC's Pro Academy team play a match at 7:30 on the Spec Road complex fields up there on Wednesday night. The home of Thunderdome Field, the official soccer club and the official soccer field, soccer pitch of Thunderdome, San Antonio City Soccer Club. All right, a cowboy note here before we get out. Will we see the entire Cowboys offensive line again this season? I don't know. Maybe, but maybe not. So, and I want to use this to get back into some Dak talk from yesterday. I think I shocked a lot of y'all with my Dak opinions from yesterday, which I don't think are opinions. I think they're Dak facts. Dak Prescott is a problem for the Cowboys. And if their offensive line's not going to be intact once all year, it's going to be a real problem because Dak Prescott cannot withstand too many things to go wrong on that offense where he's just going to wilt and not get it done. They do not have a quarterback who can go out there and overcome adversity. They just don't. Not as consistently as he needs to. And I'm just worried to death this offensive line won't be whole at all. So Tyron Smith can't play. Of course, we couldn't get 1 month into the season before Tyron Smith is already missing time. And ironically, the kid from Fort Worth, Tyler Smith, he actually returned and played for the first time all year. So Tyler Smith finally returns at left guard, but Tyron Smith can't play. All of a sudden, Tyler Biotish, he can't play. All of a sudden, Zach Martin, he can't play. He's hurt. The only kid that's been out there all season is Terrence Steele, who missed a bunch of time last year. Are they ever going to have their normal offensive starting five? Are they ever going to have Tyron Smith, Tyler Biotish, Zach Martin, Terrence Steele, all in the same game? So far, it hadn't happened. And if they can't get that offensive line, at least, I mean, okay, fine. Dak can get by with one starter being out. Clearly, they had 3 offensive line starters out Sunday, and Mike McCarthy called a vanilla game. He didn't call a vanilla game because he's got 3 starting offensive linemen out. He called the vanilla game because his quarterback can't handle the offensive lineman being out. A lot of guys couldn't handle 3 offensive line starters being out. I get that. But that game plan, and this goes back to what I said at the beginning of the show. They didn't lose the game. They lost the game because their defense sucked and Dak Prescott sucked. They did not lose the game because of Dak's interception late in the game. The only Cowboys had about a 10% chance to come back and win that game at that point anyway. The Cowboys offense spent the entire day playing to get beat. You brought in Brandon Cooks. You decided to go with this little Deuce Vaughn as your new Darren Sproles. Brandon Cooks was supposed to come in and open up CD Lamb. Why can't we score touchdowns in the red zone? They're supposed to have a whole bunch of new weapons here. We got this Texas Coast offense with all these weapons at Dak Prescott's disposal. I don't give a shit if you have all 5 starting offensive linemen out. That quarterback did not play well. That wasn't all just because he was under duress all day because the Cowboys' offensive line wasn't any good. You know, this game was on Dak offensively.
It's my quarterback.
And on Mike McCarthy. But maybe McCarthy's like, well, I guess I can't call the team plays I want to call because we got starters out. I've got to work on my fake Mike McCarthy. Got starters out and here in football field, I got starters out, so I got to call the different game plan because of Dak Prescott. He wouldn't have called the different game plan with Aaron Rodgers. No one's ever called Dak Prescott Aaron Rodgers, but that's my point. Dak Prescott's never going to be Aaron Rodgers. And so now Dak Prescott's been good enough all these years, but as I said yesterday, Dak has plateaued, and now it's starting to slowly do this. Dak is not going to get any better than he is. He's 30 years old. This is who he is. He's not all of a sudden going to become a world beater for you. This is what you're stuck with. But that being said, call some goddamn plays. Sorry to take the Lord's name in vain. I'm mad today. Call some plays that are innovative. I don't know. Run some bootlegs, shovel passing, do some reversing. I don't know, sex up the offense some. If you're going to dumb it down like this all year because Dak is Trent Dilfer, then what are we doing here? Why bring in Brandon Cooks if we're not going to use Brandon Cooks down the field? What was the average pass completion in this game? 5.5 yards? What the hell is that?
That was a disgraceful
We're not throwing the ball down the field. Can CD Lamb not go get balls in the end zone when you're in the red zone? But what are we doing here? They've got weapons, and then go look at the play where Dak threw the interception. You got good offensive players standing on the sideline. Use everybody. Get innovative. Open up the offense because Dak's not great. Does that make sense? I say open up the playbook, expand the playbook because Dak, you can't win with a pretty good quarterback and a vanilla offense. Open it up and let's try a bunch of shit. What are you going to do? Score 16 points against Arizona? Oh, wait, you did that already. If I'm only going to score 16 points, I want to score 16 points trying a bunch of stuff, and I don't think McCarthy tried nearly as much. That was a boring game to watch Sunday from an offensive standpoint, and it was ridiculous. All right, we're done. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate it. We're back in here tomorrow for People I Want to Punch Wednesday. So we'll do some punching. I got a Spurs segment I want to do tomorrow. We're getting close to time for baseball boogie, by the way. We're down to 5 Astros games left in the season. And it does not look like they're going to come back and catch Texas, but they're trying to hold off Seattle for the final wild card spot. May do a little boogie tomorrow, too. All right, thanks to LG. Thanks to Live Oak Vodka. Thank you to R&R Auto Glass. Thank you to San Antonio City Soccer Club. Thank you to Orlando Kell Law Office. See you boys in here mañana for People I Want to Punch Wednesday.
Come back, you puppy!
This program was made possible by contributions from viewers and listeners like you. Thank you.
Go home and get your fucking shine box.
This is a Bronx-bound 6 local train. The next stop is